I spent most of my life waiting for my life to begin. I am 97 years old, and I still remember the exact morning I realized I had made a mistake. Not a single mistake, not a moment, but a quiet, invisible mistake that had been with me for decades. One I never saw because I was too busy living around it. It was a Sunday. I was sitting at my kitchen table, and I realized I'd become old without ever becoming who I meant to be. Not old in the way I expected, not tired, not sick, just finished, like a book that ends in the middle of a sentence, not because the story was complete, but because the pages simply ran out. I sat there with my hands around a cup of coffee, and I understood something that no one tells you. Time does not run out all at once. It leaks slowly, invisibly, in moments you do not notice, and by the time you see the whole, the cup is almost empty. When I was young, I believed what most people believe. I believed I had time. I believed that the good things were ahead, that the meaningful years were still forming somewhere in the distance, and I just needed to get to them. I believed I was preparing, building, that all of the small days were just leading somewhere larger. I was not lazy. I worked hard. I got up early. I did what was expected, but I was always waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel certain, waiting for the right moment, the right version of myself, the right circumstances that would finally allow me to become the person I kept imagining I could be. I told myself stories. I told myself I would travel when I had more money. I would write when I had more time. I would be more present with my children when things slowed down. I would take better care of myself when life was less demanding. I would start living fully once I had finished preparing. And I believed these stories, not because they were true, but because they made the present easier. They let me stay comfortable. They let me postpone everything that scared me. They let me live half committed to a life I was always planning to improve later. I did not know it then, but I was trading my life for the idea of my life. And no one warned me, because everyone around me was doing the same thing. Time does not feel like it is passing when you are inside it. That is the danger. You wake up, you go through the day, you solve small problems, you move from task to task, you eat, you sleep, you begin again, and none of it feels like time leaving. It just feels like life. You do not notice the years in the same way you do not notice yourself aging in the mirror. The changes are too small, too gradual, too ordinary. And then one morning you look up and 20 years are gone, not dramatically, not painfully, just gone. Like mist, like something that was never solid enough to hold. I remember being 40. I remember thinking I had so much time left. Decades, an entire second half. I remember looking at old people and thinking I could not imagine being them. That age was something that happened to others. And now I sit here, 97 years into a life that moved faster than I can explain. And I think about that 40-year-old version of me. I want to tell him something, not advice, not wisdom, just a truth. You are not preparing to live. You are already living. And every day you wait is a day you will not get back. There is a cost to the way I lived, but it is not the cost you might imagine. It is not the things I failed to achieve. It is not missed careers or unwritten books or trips I never took. Those things sting, yes, but they are not what keeps me awake at night. What keeps me awake is something else. It is the way I was only half present for the people I loved. It is the conversations I rushed because I had somewhere to be. It is the moments I looked past, the evenings I wasted worrying about things that never happened, the time I spent distracted by a future that did not need me yet. I had a daughter. She is in her 70s now. And when I look at her, I remember who she was at 5, at 12, at 23. I remember the shape of her face before life changed it. I remember her voice before it deepened and softened and became the voice of an older woman. And I remember how often I was somewhere else. Not physically, I was there, I was always there, but I was not present. I was thinking about work, about money, about the next thing, about problems that felt urgent and have long since been forgotten. I gave her time, but I did not give her my attention. And attention, I have learned, is the only thing that matters. You cannot love someone without paying attention. You cannot know someone without paying attention. You cannot experience anything fully unless you are actually there. And I was so rarely there. I was in the next hour, the next month, the next year. I was always ahead of myself, and I missed so much that was right in front of me. There were moments, small ones, moments when something cracked open, just slightly, and I almost understood. I remember walking home one evening in my late 50s. The sky was turning orange, and I passed a man sitting alone on a bench. He was older than me at the time, perhaps 70, perhaps more, and he was just sitting, watching the street, watching nothing in particular. And I remember thinking, I wonder what he would tell me. I wonder what he knows that I do not, but I kept walking, and I forgot about him. There were other moments. A funeral for a friend who died too young. A quiet afternoon where I suddenly felt the weight of how little I had done with the hours I had been given. A birthday that felt heavier than it should have, but I pushed these moments aside because the truth they carried was uncomfortable, and I was not ready to sit with discomfort. So I returned to the routine, the busyness, the waiting, and the years kept passing. There is a lie most people live by. It is not spoken out loud. It does not need to be. It is woven into the way we move through our lives. It is in the way we postpone, the way we assume, the way we treat time like a resource that will always be there. The lie is this, that one day things will slow down, that one day you will feel ready, that one day you will finally begin. I believed this lie for most of my life. I believed it at 30, at 50, at 70. And I can tell you now from the other side of nearly a century that the day never comes. There is no moment where life clears, no stage where you feel completely ready, no point where the distractions fall away and the path becomes obvious. There is only now, and now is always complicated, now is always imperfect, now is always full of reasons to wait, but waiting is the lie, because while you are waiting, you are also dying, not dramatically, not suddenly, just slowly, quietly, in the same invisible way that time slips past you, and by the time you see it, you are here, 97, sitting in a chair by a window, wondering where it all went. I do not know when it finally became clear. There was no single moment, no revelation, no event that changed everything. It was more like waking up slowly. It was noticing for the first time how few mornings I might have left. It was looking at old photographs and realizing I could no longer remember the feelings behind the faces. It was understanding finally that I had been given one life, one, and I had spent so much of it somewhere other than where I was. I stopped making plans, not because I gave up, but because I understood that plans were never the problem. The problem was me. The problem was the way I had lived as if the present was just a bridge to somewhere better, and it was not. The present was all there was. It always had been. If you are listening to this, I do not know how old you are. Maybe you are 25, maybe you are 40, maybe you are 63, and wondering if it is already too late. It is not. I need you to hear that. It is not too late. Not if you are breathing. Not if you are still here. I know how it feels to look at the years behind you and feel like something has already been lost. I know how it feels to wonder if the best has passed. I know how heavy it becomes to carry the weight of time you cannot get back. But here is what I have learned. The past is not where your life is. Your life is in the next breath, the next hour, the next choice, and you still have those. Maybe not as many as you once did, maybe fewer than you think, but you have them. And each one is a chance to stop waiting. Each one is a chance to finally be here. Fully, without distraction, without postponement. You do not need to change your entire life. You do not need to leave your job or sell everything or become someone new. You just need to pay attention. You just need to stop treating your life like something that is about to start, because it already started a long time ago, and it will end, maybe sooner than you expect. I wish I could give you more than this. I wish I could give you the years I wasted, the mornings I threw away, the evenings I spent on worry instead of presence. But I cannot. All I can give you is this. The truth I did not learn until I was almost out of time. That time is the only thing, that nothing else matters if you are not present for it, that you will not get another chance to be here now in this life with these people, in this body. This is it. And it is still happening right now, while you are reading this, while you are half listening, half thinking about what comes next. This moment is your life, and it will pass, just like all the others, unless you decide to be inside it. I do not want to leave you with a lesson. I do not want to tell you what to do. I only want to tell you what I finally understood. You are not running out of time. You are standing in the middle of it. And the question is not whether you have enough. The question is whether you are here, whether you are awake to what is already in front of you, whether you are living your life or waiting for it to become something else. I waited. For nearly a century I waited. And now I sit here with the daylight coming through the window, and I understand. The life I was waiting for was always here. I just never stopped long enough to see it. If you are 50, you are not too late. If you are 60, you are not too late. If you are 70 or 80 or 30 or 19, you are not too late. You are only too late if you decide the waiting has already won, and it has not. Not yet. There is still breath in your chest. There is still light coming through the window. There is still something inside you that knows the truth. You can feel it right now, that quiet urgency, that ache, that voice that has been whispering to you your whole life. Listen to it. Not tomorrow. Now. I am 97 years old. I have lived long enough to watch everyone I loved leave. I have lived long enough to understand what I lost by waiting. And I have lived long enough to know this. It is not too late for you, but it will be. One day. And when that day comes, you will know whether you lived or whether you waited. You will know whether you were present or somewhere else. You will know whether you gave your attention to what mattered or whether you gave it to noise, and you will not be able to go back. So please, for me, for the version of yourself you will become, stop waiting. The people you love will not be here forever. You will not be here forever, and neither will this day. I do not have much time left, maybe a year, maybe less, but I am not afraid, not anymore. Because I finally understand what I was afraid of all along. Not death, not loss, just the thought that I might leave without ever really having been here. And I have been here now, for a few moments, for a few years, finally, at the end. I wish I had understood sooner. But you can. There is nothing else I want to say, except this. The morning is already half gone. What will you do with the rest of it? I think that is the question, the only question, and I hope you do not answer it the way I did for so long. I will leave you here, not with hope, not with fear, just with the truth I finally found. The time is now. It always was. And one more thing. If you are 50 or 60 or 70, and you think the good years are behind you, they are not. They are right in front of you, but only if you stop looking past them. I stopped looking past them, finally, at 97. And even these last few years, even these tired mornings, even this small room with its single window, even this has been worth it, because I have finally been here for it. Do not wait until you are here to understand. That is all. The light is changing. The day is moving on, and so am I. You will forget most of this by tomorrow, but maybe one line will stay. Maybe one thought will settle somewhere inside you, and maybe one ordinary morning you will remember, and you will finally stop waiting. That is what I hope for you. Nothing more.